So what's happening in Utah? The story in Utah, especially over the last few years, has been a story of growth. Utah has been the fastest growing state in the nation since 2010, and new construction of residential homes is of mass importance here in the state of Utah as we see a housing shortage, not only nationwide, but especially in areas just like Utah, where we are seeing the highest growth on steroids. And like many places across the country, we've seen a housing shortage ever since the financial crisis of 2008 because we've underbuilt each and every single year. And this alone is the reason why home prices have skyrocketed in these areas that are growing so quickly. And of course, we all know what happened in 2020, and this just threw everything out of equilibrium and just set the market on fire. So my goal in this video is to share the ultimate guide as to what you need to know if you're considering buying new construction here in the state of Utah. And if we haven't met yet, my name is Scott Steele, and I absolutely love helping people discover all things Utah, including Utah real estate. So if that's you and you're considering making the move to Utah, I would love it if you would drop a comment in this very video and tell me where you're coming from, because I love learning where people are coming from because it helps guide me as to what type of content that I need to create moving forward. And of course, as always, I would love to be your real estate resource of choice when making that move. You can connect with me in the description below. You can find my contact information, or you can find it as well with a link in the pinned comment on this and every video. So please reach out. And with that said, let's get started. All right, before we begin, I kind of want to elaborate just a little bit more about this housing shortage that I talked about previously. Prior to 2020, we had a housing shortage of more than 56,000 units. What does that mean for a state of a smaller population like Utah? It causes a lot of problems. It means that a lot of people who might want to buy a home cannot, but it also means that home prices are on the rise. We saw this shortage continually grow throughout the decade between 2010 and 2020, and that number rose almost up to 60,000 units. Well, then in 2021 and 2022, the building just boomed here in Utah, and we made a really massive dent in that shortage, and we brought that down to about 32,000 units. And even though that sounds really good because we nearly cut that shortage in half, the building has now slowed down again. And what does that mean? Our families didn't stop growing 20, 30 years ago when we started having more children. And so that natural desire or that need to have more homes is here, and it's still growing. So unless we continue doing what we did in 2021 and 2022, we're not going to find ourselves getting out of that housing shortage that we find ourselves in. Now, I just wanted to touch on, that doesn't mean that 31,000 people are homeless. It just means that 31,000 homes are needed to meet current demand. So a lot of people are either living with family or they're renting from, a basement, for example, from somebody that they know, but they're teaming up, and this is how we're getting through things. And this demand of homes is not slowing down. In fact, it's rising. And home affordability is one of the most important aspects to our quality of life here in Utah. I really am passionate about affordability in terms of new construction, and I'm seeing some really good ideas that are bouncing around that I think will come into fruition that will help solve this particular problem in our state and help as we continue to grow year after year. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is what's driving all of this growth in the state of Utah. So if you're not from Utah, I'd be really curious, what's making you curious to look into moving to the state of Utah? Drop it in the comment below. If it's the outdoors, if it's skiing, if it's just the quality of life, it's a smaller city or a bigger city, I would love to know your reasons for wanting to move to Utah or considering moving to Utah. So drop that comment down below. But basically the growth of this state, it's net migration. It's how many people leave versus how many people come. And from 2015 through 2019, we saw an average of 121,000 people moving into the state, net migration. So this takes into account all people that are leaving and all people that are moving in, and we grew by about 121,000 people each of those years. And then when 2020 happened, the growth just went crazy. So moving forward, I don't know exactly what those numbers are going to look like in the coming years, but I do know that the state is going to continue to grow. And because we have such a young population, as our families develop and grow, we are going to need more real estate. And it's not just people moving here from California. California. In fact, of all the people that are moving to Utah, it's about 1 out of 5 people are coming from the state of California, but people are coming from everywhere. I've had people reach out to me right here on my channel from Canada, from Brazil, from Virginia, from Washington, D.C., from Minnesota, Colorado, Texas, Florida, California, all of the above. As I have these conversations with people that are moving here, it helps give me a really good perspective as to what the questions are that people are looking for. And that's my goal in this video, is to help you understand and navigate the process of moving to Utah, especially if new construction homes are on your radar, because that is one of my specialties. I actually came from a construction background. I built homes, I renovated homes, and as somebody who absolutely understands the building process, I think this is crucial to have somebody on your side representing you in a transaction who not only understands real estate, but understands construction as well and knows what to look for. All right, so where are the fastest growing areas and where are the biggest opportunities if you're looking for new construction? Well, the way that I've broken this down, we basically have 10 cities. If I take the top 10 fastest growing cities in the state, we have 3 up in northern Utah, which is Clearfield, West Haven, and Syracuse up north. And then if we come down into the Salt Lake Valley, we have downtown Salt Lake City, and then of course out in South Jordan and the Daybreak area where I happen to live. But then if we go down south into Utah County, we have Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs, Lehigh, and American Fork. And all of those cities are just right there together. They're one particular area just north of Utah County, just on the south end of the Salt Lake County border. And last but not least, we have one of the fastest growing areas in the state, and that's down in Washington County, which is at the very southwesternmost point of the state. It's a completely different world, and that is the city of St. George. St. George is growing at a very rapid pace, and it's not slowing down. Now, that's just the top 10 areas. There are many other areas that are still growing. In fact, the southern part of Utah County, just south of Utah Lake, near Springville and Spanish Fork and Mapleton, these areas are growing tremendously quick as well. And I think the dark horse in the coming years for one of those cities that's going to make that top 10 list year after year after year is probably just west of Salt Lake City in Tooele. Tooele and Grantsville are 2 cities just west of Salt Lake City, and they sit in their own valley surrounded by mountains to the east and the west. And that valley is going to explode in the coming years as well. So as I look at all of the fastest growing areas in Utah, the number 1 fastest growing county in the state of Utah is Utah County, which sits just to the south of Salt Lake County, but it's specifically the northern section of that county that borders Salt Lake County that is the fastest growing region in the entire state. Then if we bounce up north, there's the other 3 cities of Clearfield, Syracuse up north, where we have another pocket of really extreme growth. And then if you go down to the southwestern tip of Utah in St. George, those are the 3 hottest pockets within the entire state in terms of growth. But if we rank growth by county, it goes Utah County, then Washington County down in the south with St. George, and then Salt Lake County, which is really being fueled by the growth of Daybreak and South Jordan specifically. As I help people make this move to Utah, I'm having conversations with people that are moving to Highland, that are moving to Salt Lake City, to Daybreak, to Eagle Mountain. It doesn't matter where you're looking to go. I would love to help you because I do have relationships with these builders, and I know how to get the best product for you based on your needs, your lifestyle, and what you're looking for. So please reach out to me. You can find my information down below. Reach out to me, schedule a call, and discover which area might be best for you. I find that most people can eliminate 80 to 90% of the areas that they might consider just based on about a 30 to 40 minute phone call or video call where we can go through the map together and show you exactly where it might be a better fit for you. And if new construction is really high on your list, I can share some really good information about where the best communities are and how to get into those communities and see that growth firsthand. And I love doing video tours for my clients as well. So if you have any questions, hit me up. And if you want to learn more about living in Utah, just check out this playlist. And until next time, thanks.